Hi guys, and welcome to this week's video tutorial. This would be board number 49 from Dubious Positions and how to attack them. Again, it will be a board discussing the central cannon versus the sandwich horse defense. We will be using the 5-6 cannons in this variation, and this board is a good example of the correct timing of trading pawns, because in this board, Red would trade pawns at the wrong time and it will result in extensive losses in his position. So without further ado, let us begin. Central cannon, pale corner cannon. Red develops the chariot as a foul chariot. Black goes for the sandwich horse defense, and red goes for the 5-6 cannons. Now this so far is okay. Using the 5-6 cannons to counter the sandwich horse defense is one of the mainstream methods by red. The pace of the game would be very slow, but red would be able to hold on to the initiative correctly if he played correctly. And usually the main confrontation would occur in the mid-game phase. In this board, Black would develop his chariot as a ranked chariot in view of Red's 5-6 cannons. Now this is a very targeted approach. Black would be prepared to give up this horse because for a proactive counter. This is a frequently used counter by Black if he wanted a very tightly knit or fast-paced game. Other commonly played variations would be to play, since Red had played C equals to 6, it would be to play R1 equals to 2, which would lead to, for example, Black would develop, and this would be one of the trending variations even today, and still very commonly seen. Red would have a slight advantage, but Black would have his opportunities ahead. So in this board, Red plays R9 plus 1, which is okay. Red develops both horses as proper horses. Black immediately targets the palace corner cannon. Red protects. R1 equals to 2 to develop the chariot. And P7 plus 1 is played by Red. Now this is not a good move because it is too slow. It would be more important for Red to play R9 equals to 8 and not be afraid of any potential blockade. Red will be able to exert more pressure by playing R9 equals to 8. For example, if P7 plus 1, there's always R2 plus 6 to attack the horse, and Red will have the initiative. P7 plus 1 is played, and Black would immediately counter with P7 plus 1. So this is a commonly used approach, but note that now the chariot has already crossed the palace, targeting the cannon. Red would have difficulty trying to push the horse to the riverbank at this point in time. So one commonly used counter would be to play R2 plus 4, preparing to play H7 plus 6 to gain some momentum. But Black would be faster with H7 plus 6, so that if Red pushed the horse, Black would gain material. So that is why Black would play H7 plus 6, effectively preventing Red from playing H7 plus 6. So as can be seen, this is what was meant by the authors saying that P7 plus 1 was too slow. Now at this point in time, instead of developing the chariot, Red would play P3 plus 1 to try to develop his other horse. Now it would appear to be a good move, a proactive move, and this is a commonly used tactic by any player with a riverbank chariot. By trading pawns, this will allow for development of the horses. Unfortunately, this was a big mistake right from the beginning, because the trade of pawns at this point in time was a huge mistake. It would be directly responsible for future weaknesses in Red's position. Instead of this, for this move, R2 plus 6 should have been played, as Red would be able to exert more a more powerful effect. So p3 plus 1, and how will black counter? He will counter brilliantly with r4 plus 7. Now this would appear to result in a loss of tempo because the chariot moved here before moving here again. But this would be the position of discussion, because now black would be prepared to push the pawn across the river and gain momentum. Now, at this point in time, there are two main variations, p3 plus 1 and r2 plus 1. Now, please note that e3 plus 1 at this point would not be a good idea, because black will simply push the pawn across the river. And after trading chariots, the positioning of the elephant will be an issue that red will have to deal with. And also, the underdevelopment of red's left flank will be a key issue. So black will simply play c2 equals to 1. Again, the development of black's left flank and the horses will become a huge problem, because the horse cannot advance or it will be captured. It cannot advance, it will be captured. And there's nothing that red can do at this point in time. So black could have seized and commanded the initiative at this point, and he can be very satisfied with this outcome. So let us go to variation A. In variation A, p3 plus 1 is played, whereby red will capture the pawn. Black would now capture the pawn, and with this move, he would be prepared to capture the horse. He will be prepared to capture, for example, if red made any other move, black will be prepared to capture the horse and gain material. So that is why, because of this, red is forced to retreat his chariot. So as can be seen, red's earlier loss in tempo will now be compensated by red losing tempo also, because he will have to protect the horse and prevent r7 plus 3 from happening. So by retreating, red will now take his time to consolidate his defense, and he could now form a blockade. Again, black's man would have excellent positioning, and black's advantage is very significant. So let us go to variation B, r2 plus 1, which would be a very tenacious counter by red. If the pawn pushed across the river, black would lose the horse. Now, black would counter with e3 plus 5 to consolidate his defense, e3 plus 1, and counter threaten the chariot with this very proactive move instead of capturing the pawn directly. Now, red will play proactively by targeting the cannon. Black defense, and red will try to develop his left flank at this point. Now, sacrificing the pawn that just crossed the river would be a correct move. It would be sagacious and the correct thing to do. If red was overly concerned with protecting the pawn, let's say with p3 equals to 2, this pawn position here would not be able to do much. It would be too far away from the palace and actually block the red chariot from retreating. Black would retreat his horse for better positioning, again preventing h7 plus 6 from happening. And equals to 8, blockade. And black would have an overwhelming advantage. The chariot is stuck, it cannot move, and cannot do much at this point in time, whereas black would have ample man and lots of space to attack. The h6 plus 8, etc., or even c2 equals to 3 will be potential moves for black to continue with. So black would have an overwhelming advantage, and that is why protecting the pawn would not be a good idea. Instead, red would simply offer the pawn back as sacrifice. Black would of course capture it. Again, red would have lost 2 moves by pushing the pawn across the river, only to be captured. Now, red tries to move his horse to the riverbank. Now, this move was an attempt by red hoping to limit for the development of the black pieces. Now, would r8 plus 6 be a good idea? Because red will try to go attack. Answer will be no, because black could simply offer to trade pawns and be prepared to play h3 plus 4 if need be. So let's say if red captured, again, the chariot will be overwhelming. This chariot would not, comparatively speaking, these two chariots, black's chariot is much more powerful. So if r2 minus 3, there's always h6 plus 7 to apply even more pressure on this file. Black will be threatening to capture the h6 plus 7. Let's say, for example, red make this move. Black will be prepared to capture material. And black will gain material. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 3 pieces. Black would not have to worry. That's why he can always retreat his material to safety. So black would have a very powerful position and gain material. So h7 plus 6 was red's attempt, a proactive attempt at trying to counter, hoping maybe perhaps he could capture the central pawn, this pawn, etc. But black would have none of it. He would play capture this and take out the cannon and attack in this manner. Now this is a very nice move because black would now be threatening to capture the elephant for discover check and capture the red chariot. So red will be forced to make this move, p3 plus 1, and after trading pawns we can see that this horse will not have any good positions moves to continue. He cannot advance either here or here because it's guarded by the chariot. Again, the red chariot will not have any good positioning, and the threat of the cannon and chariot on this file would be overwhelming. The chariot is protected by the horse, and so there's much that black can do. So red will be a disadvantage. Black's position is better, and black's chances later on will be much better. He can be very optimistic of this situation. So in this board, the main lesson that we've been learning was the inappropriate timing of trading pawns, because black did not understand the gravity of the situation. Red did not understand the gravity of the situation when he traded pawns, and this would lead to several different scenarios, all of which would be to black's advantage. Also, as can be seen over here, after several rounds, black would gain a significant advantage. Now let us review this board from the eyes of black. Okay, central cannon, sandwich horse defense, 9 equals to 8 in as a targeted approach counter to red's 5-6 cannons. This is okay, considered to be tender, one of the options that black can have. Again, immediately crosses the palace to attack the cannon. Black develops both chariots. p7 plus 1 too slow. Again, r9 equals to 8 would have been better. p7 plus 1, r2 plus 4, which is not a good idea. r2 plus 6 would have been better. p7 plus 6, and p3 plus 1, the biggest blunder or mistake that will lead to red's demise. r4 equals to 7. Black immediately changes direction of his attack, applying pressure on this file. Variation A, p3 plus 1. Variation B, r2 plus 1. Now e3 plus 1 is not viable because after trading material, black would have the spatial advantage. There's a lot of space for black to move, whereas as can be seen, red would have difficulty trying to develop material. Variation A, p3 plus 1. Red captures the pawn, threatens to capture the horse to capture the chariot, gain material. Red is forced to retreat. Black consolidates defense, applies a blockade. Again, as can be seen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red pieces. All of its major pieces would not have many good intersections for development, and there's always a threat of c2 equals to 3, etc., etc. Black would have a significant advantage. Variation B, red plays R2 plus 1 for tenacious counter. Black consolidates its defense. And instead of trading material, the black horse attacks the chariot. Red tries to counter proactively, but black only protects the cannon with his advisor, and also consolidates his position in the meantime. And 9 goes to 8, capturing the pawn. Red tries to play proactively because R8 plus 6 would not be a good idea. It would lead, although there is still no direct confrontation, but black's position is much superior. H7 plus 5, taking out the cannon, so that any threat of an attack from the central file would now be negated. A very nice move. C2 plus 5, very proactive, applying a lot of pressure. A4 plus 5. Otherwise, discover check to get material. And as can be seen after some trade of pawns, black could now, comparatively speaking, black's trade of pawns that was done at the appropriate time, and this horse will now would have ample space for development. Now, although this move by black changing the direction did not lead to any major gains, but it resulted in very superior positioning of the black pieces, and this is one of the main lessons that we'll be learning today. So I hope you've enjoyed this short video. If you like the work that I've been doing, please do subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. And also for beginners, I've written some books promoting the game in English for the past decade now. If you like the work that I've been doing, please do support my work and give me a thumbs up for the video, and also subscribe to my channel. Thank you.